our pride. Zac and Ian will take you on this ride, week by week, side by side. It's section 1, 2, 3, we're the rowdiest in town. The Pirates, Game, and Uncle Dave, and Big Fudge all around. We sing our songs, we chant as one. Through thick and thin, the match day's just begun. In the North End, we stand together. Through every game, through any weather. From the first whistle to the final blow, the North End will never let go. In the lights of Q2, our home, our sacred ground. In green and black, we fight, our voices loud and proud. Trio sees magic, Bakari speed, Stuva saving grace. With every goal we score, the lights turn verde, it's our place. So knows the mastermind, building our dream. Dan rules everything around me, as he strengthens our team. Let Rodo cook, he's got the perfect recipe. Austin SC, our heart and soul forever will. In the North End, we stand together. Through every game, through any weather. From the first whistle to the final blow, the North End will never let go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 169. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him
E.
E. Sitting here Sunday afternoon, Austin, Texas, victorious Austin, Texas. Not just the first team with the clean sheet on the road last night in Nashville, but a big win for Austin FC2 on Friday as well. I guess we'll just start as we always do, though, my friend. How you feeling?
I am fantastic. Had a wonderful, wonderful evening last night. We had our, is this the 21st year for the
20th.
ATX?
Yeah.
20th year. So that's impressive. Our fantasy football league that I was introduced to with you and your high school Austin buddies and everything like that. So we had that draft going. We had the game on, and just what a way to start out these last 9 games here. I am absolutely thrilled for this team. And if you caught us on the episode with the Verde Pendant boys, I said that these first 3 matchups could really set us up nicely. They are all winnable games. You have checked the first box here versus Nashville, taking care of business. And I am just so excited for this stretch run here. And this was a great way to start it off.
Yeah, hard to say it could have gone better. Obviously, a couple speed bumps in the road last night, especially right off the rip. And we'll get there in a few moments. Before we jump into the recap of the weekend that was, just want to remind you all listening or watching on the YouTube channel that the best way to support the show is by downloading the audio version of this episode wherever you get your podcasts. And if wherever you get your podcasts has the little toggle where you can say auto download this podcast, you toggle that on. You can support the show and not have to think about it further. If you want to go the extra mile and rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast, we would appreciate that. And if you're watching on the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button. That also helps us grow the show. You can hit the notification bell to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, on this episode, hit the thumbs up, like the video, help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords, atone for your sins, wash yourselves clean in the waters of the North End. We had media availability after training on Thursday morning. You got Coach Wolf, you got Brendan Hines-Ike, and there wasn't a ton, as per usual, right? Not a ton of substance there, but one thing that did catch our eye, and I think the fan base as a whole, was Coach Wolf's comments on Alexander Svatak. And to put it simply, he basically just said he's struggling acclimating to the heat. And I think that makes some sense to me because upon further review, has been the hottest like 2 week stretch, I think, of this summer. We've been lucky, I think, as a whole this summer to not have a giant stretch of 100-degree days. But on the day that Coach said that, Thursday, I believe the heat index, when I saw that quote, was like 109. And I looked up the all-time record high temperature in Ukraine, 107. So I totally get, that it's not a freezing, frigid climate there in Ukraine like it does. I think it's like mid to high 80s right now, maybe getting up into the low 90s, but nearly a 20-degree difference there. I just hope that Svatak is ready soon. And Coach did hint that he was thinking maybe this Vancouver match coming up next weekend. But I can't say I wasn't disappointed. I was hoping we were going to get, this center back that we've all been kind of, at least I have been somewhat putting on a pedestal, right? Given the transfer fee, the resume there, and the like. So any thoughts for you on those comments?
I mean, I can't really blame him. I came down from New York 10 years ago plus, and my first summer here, I did not know what was happening. I just felt like I was melting all the time. So I totally understand that it's going to take him a little while to get adjusted here. I also was anticipating at least some time last night after we got those comments, but we'll see how this progresses. And it just seems like a rough week here to try to really get back into training and get yourself ready, because it was brutal for a couple days this last week. So, when he's ready, he's going to be ready. And I'm very excited for that. And just really excited to see our best players out there on the pitch.
Yeah, no question. And another thing Coach did talk about on Thursday was that now that we have these reinforcements here, that we've got enough competition with the field players where some guys who have made rosters all year are going to be left out of the 20. And I got to tell you, there was one name that really surprised me. We get that lineup about an hour before kick on Saturday evening, and Jean Kolmanich not in the 20. That didn't surprise me a ton. If you would have asked me before the lineup comes out, give me 3 or 4 guys that you think are on that fringe there to make the bench, he probably would have been one of them. But no Julio Cascante. So in terms of the 11, right? You get Stuver, Biru, Hedges, and Heinzeich are your center back pairing. Dessler there on the right. Alex Ring with the armband, Danny and Owen in the midfield next to him. Johnny G on the left, Osman Bukhari on the right, Sebastian Driussi up top once again. Bench of Zardis, Cleveland, Svatak, Väisänen, Obrian, Jimenez, Valencia, Finlay, and Rubio. I see you putting your hands up there. We had the Eastradamus with the lineup prediction. We had the Zestradamus with the score prediction. So I think pats on the back to both of us this weekend.
Indeed. We'll take the wins when we get them here. I like the lineup. I made my stance pretty clear on it, that I thought that this allowed us to put our best attacking foot forward if you have Seba in that false 9 position, and theoretically be able to get him the ball more than we have seen throughout the course of this season over the long haul. So I am a fan of this lineup in regard to Julio. I was a bit surprised by that as well. He was acting as our CB1 for a very long stretch of time to start this season when we weren't as deep at the position. We didn't really know what BHI was going to be providing and everything. But, if you're not performing and keeping up with these guys, I just don't know what to tell you. You're going to have to put some good time in, some good work in and practice and training, and dig your way and claw your way back into this lineup. In regard to Kolmanich, I'm not shocked at all, not surprised. I think if you're looking at a situation where you have to get Guilherme out, the most logical thing to do, if Johnny is in that starting wing position, is to just bring Obrian in for Biru and then swap those two, because you're just going to get way more quality out of Johnny back there than you are Kolmanich. We understand the limitations that he has, so I was not surprised with that one. I will say I was a bit surprised we didn't get any Leo minutes once it became clear we weren't going to see Svatak here. And again, it's interesting with this center back rotation to see how it's kind of fleshing out here. A Hedges start is a bit of an eye opener. I know that he performed well in Leagues Cup, and as of late, he's been fine. nothing crazy. But again, it's just the two things that have played this team that we have talked about for so long, the grievous errors in the back. You're not really getting that out of Hedges. And I think that might be giving him a leg up here when it comes down to who we're going to be allocating these minutes for.
Yeah, I think maybe the second goal, right, getting that insurance goal in the 84th, I think is when that went in the net. Maybe that kept a guy like Leo from coming on at the very end to shift to that 5 back if you're just defending the 1-goal lead. But yeah, man, and Julio, like, I don't think we have seen him get a start since he got suspended on yellow card accumulation for the Charlotte match, right? Coming off of the debacle in Dallas there where Julio gets sent off, he gets brought back on, Seba gets sent off, but Julio's suspended anyways on accumulation. Also don't want to gloss over, like, I know there was some jokes cracked, I think, by Matt Bersano being the only one on the injury report. But he was out with a lower leg injury, so hopefully that is not a serious injury and that he's off that injury report going into next weekend. Jumping into this one, I mean, really right off the rip, right? Second minute here, great through ball over the top by Hani Mukhtar to Jacob Schaffelberg, getting in behind. Schaffelberg's got a few steps on the Austin back line, but as he turns, kind of angles towards getting into that penalty area, Brendan Heinzike able to take an angle and slide in for a challenge as Schaffelberg was approaching that 6-yard box. Ref waves off, with the shouts for a pen, but then the next dead ball, the game is held up as it is reviewed. And then the replay, especially on this angle from somewhat behind the net, it looks like a pretty clear penalty. I think from the third angle that was shown, which was really behind Schaffelberg, I think that's where you could see the argument in Austin's favor that maybe Schaffelberg kind of stuck his leg out into an unnatural position to take that contact. Ultimately, I don't have any issue with this being called a penalty upon review, because there's one thing I think that is not in question. Brendan did not get any part of the ball here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a wonderful ball by Mukhtar, plays him into space, and we're in a tight spot here right off the rip. And I'm just looking at this like, oh, here we go, man. Like, we can't be giving up an early goal here on the road and just putting ourselves in a hole. On the field, he doesn't make the call. And then the lengthy review process really led me to believe that we weren't going to see a PK here, because if it was clear and conclusive enough to overturn it, it felt like it was obvious enough that you would just have to quickly go, you get the call, you go to the monitor, and boom, we line up at the stripe. But it took such a long time to look at this that I was like, okay, it might be going in our favor. And in my levels of excitement and fanhood, I was like more and more just like, all right, well, this is soft now. Like, we got to move on from this. But here we go, Bradley Scott Stuver.
Yeah, Hani Mukhtar lines it up. Stuver guesses right, gets a mitt to it, really both hands, and just kind of strongly pushes it to his right, and it goes off the post and out. Heinzike did pick up a yellow as well for that challenge, but man, as soon as you keep that one out, even though I don't think the momentum really swung to Austin quickly after this, it was still like, okay, like, we survived that first just near gut punch, and now we can actually play the game.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I can't predict the future or anything like that, but if we had given up that PK, Brad doesn't make this save, I think obviously this game is completely different. So just huge props to him. I think I said to you last night, I think this might have been his best game of the season. He was incredible all night long. Like, it didn't stop here after saving this PK. He came up with big save after big save multiple times, and was just huge for us, and this is why we love the guy, and he might not get the national recognition that he deserves. And that's okay with me if he's out here helping us win really important games. And he was a huge, if not the largest factor last night for Austin FC.
12th minute here, Nashville controlling possession and pace early on, even after the penalty. And I think Austin kind of sloppy as well, having trouble keeping the ball in the first 20 minutes or so. Here in the 12th, Nashville bouncing the ball around the left side of the Austin 18-yard box, and Muyl crosses from left to right. Shaq Moore tries the volley from about 14 yards, but hits it kind of into the ground. It bounces up right to the head of Jacob Schaffelberg, who puts it on frame, but Stuver is there to gobble it up. And 4 minutes later, Austin kind of hanging around the back, being very patient with the ball here when they do have possession. I think it was a good idea after the first 15 minutes where we really can't string anything together. I don't know if we had possessions more than 4 or 5 passes in that first 15 minutes, but here, kind of at the back, assessing things, Dessler gets a touch and he immediately picks his head up on that right side, fires a ball in the direction of Osman Bukhari, who is shielded off by Bauer as Willis comes out, or kind of has to come out outside of the box to clear it, and clears it with his head. It goes right to Alex Rain. He tries to ping it right back, just doesn't get enough on it to get it over Willis. But again, I was just, every time that we see that long ball going down the right side, I start to like get on the edge of my seat because I know who we're targeting with those long balls. And I know, and we see the advantage later on. But I thought, goal or not, I was going to be satisfied with Bukhari's night last night, because again, I just think the danger he very clearly presents is just game changing. And ultimately he does change the game later on, but there's a couple plays we'll talk about going through here where if you don't recall some of these Bukhari plays, like go watch them again. It just, it's like gets me so excited.
The pressure that he puts on a defense is just, it's incredible, you know, and you have to account for these type of long balls going over the top now if you're defending us. And if you have somebody with the quality of Dessler, who I know we're going to speak about quite a bit more, because again, the short list of best players on the field last night, he's on that list. And this is a great ball to just kind of, like you said, I thought that your point you made there was really great. Caught our breath a little bit, understood we got a long ways to go. We have survived this first kind of push because there was no momentum shift after that PK. It was just kind of like, okay, we're still trying to find our footing here. And then we eventually do. And this was kind of the start of it, because then you see another ball to Bukhari here. If Alex could have just put a little more finesse on that, he definitely could have scored that goal. So I like the attempt. I like the mentality to try to catch him off his line there like that and everything. Just wasn't executed properly. But, you know, with Alex, and I think we're going to talk about a couple other plays that he has coming up here in this game, I have been, you know, relatively surprised and pleased with his desire to be more aggressive, particularly when he has the ball at his foot. Sometimes it hasn't worked out, and I looked at you a couple times last night, and I was like, man, he's got to get that ball off his foot. But then you see it a little later, this assist to Johnny was just incredible awareness, and we'll get into it. But I just like the way that it changed here. We started to find ourselves and like kind of make this push into being like, okay, now we're going to start claiming a little more territory, because they had been on the front foot the entire 15, 18 minutes here.
Yeah, it fits right into the next note here. It's 18th minute. Austin finally gaining a bit of offensive traction here. They win 2 long throws on that left side, but nothing coming directly off of those throws. But after the second one, Austin retains possession, kind of works it back around to that right side where Dessler and Bukhari combine. And again, I think we see multiple times last night where Dessler plays Osman and then makes a run that occupies the defense because Dessler has some gravity to him as well. And then you're isolating Bukhari with just one defender. And I don't think anybody has proven to be able to stay in front of him at this point. So like in this play particularly, he takes a touch to his right, crosses it in, and finds the head of Driussi, but it skims off and out the backside. But again, just the chance creation coming from these new guys is a sight to see, man. Or it's a welcome sight to see, I guess I should say.
Absolutely. And I like, with Dessler, a player at his position, what he's going to bring to the team and everything like that, it might not be as right up in your face as one of the more exciting players like Bukhari, who's out here putting pressure on the defense, scoring his first goal, embarrassing guys at times who are just like, okay, you're not fast enough to keep up with me. But you see this spatial awareness with Dessler. He knows how to play off of somebody. Even when he's not getting the ball, those types of runs, just the movement catches the defender's eye. You have to account for it. And he knows how to play off of high quality players like Book. So like this right side, I can't remember how many years that we have these two dudes locked up now, but God, it is going to be awesome to watch them continue to grow this relationship and just wreak havoc on the right side of the field.
Yeah. How does through 2027 with a 28 option sound for both of those guys? I like it.
Let me check. Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah. We jump ahead to the 30th minute here where Patrick Yazbek, who's the Australian U22 that we were talking about, on Wednesday's episode, one of the summer signings for Nashville. He fouls Owen Wolf. This says something to him. You can see there, like, Danny kind of gets in between him. He holds his hand out for Owen Wolf. It seemed like a little sarcastically. Owen kind of ignores him and then finally, like, gives him a little hand slap. All right, get out of here. But then the game gets paused, and ultimately I think that we don't know what was said. Something was said that I think the officials and I think most of, if not all the players, didn't hear either. My interpretation of this incident at this point is that the league has some sort of separate third-party official listening to field microphones for the banter between the players, because this was paused and Nashville put out a statement after the game that there was some abusive language used, and Yazbek is the guy who gets subbed off 7 minutes later. Jonathan Perez, the winger on loan from the Galaxy, subs in, makes his MLS debut for Nashville. But that was not something we have experienced, I think, in an Austin game before. And if we ever find out, I'll be interested to see what actually went down there.
Yeah, I do not know what happened here. I've been in a situation like this before. Actually, it's pretty funny. So I was trying to think back if I had seen anything like this in sports before. But back in my college playing days, I was playing against an old rival team. Score a hoop, big hoop, and one, and I hit the Jared Allen sack dance in the middle of the court. And no technical, nothing. But the ref ran over to my coach and he was like, "Hey, you got to sub him out of the game." And then I came out immediately after the free throw. After the free throw, I got yanked. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what he said. But just weird. I don't know how you can like just be like, okay, well now you have to get him off. You know what I mean? I was playing a college basketball game. This is professional soccer. Weird. Don't know what to make of it. I thought they were on a hydration break at first.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But no. And again, we don't know. We'll see what comes of it. And I tell you what, man, I don't think it definitely did not help Nashville that Yazbek came off, because he was looking pretty dangerous out there through that first half hour.
Yes, as someone who wrote the preview article and said that he was more of a prospect, I was like, okay, well, that might have not been the most accurate representation, because yes, he was an impact player.
You didn't have a ton of film on him, so now we've got more up close and personal. The better scout next time. 38th minute here, Austin again working it around patiently at the back, and you can see on this play. This is where I thought it was the most obvious to me. Again, kind of the untrained eye rewatching the game this morning, but you've got Danny tucked back in this buildup in between the two center backs, so kind of a three at the back. And you've got both Biru and Dessler on their respective sides, fullback positions tucked more inside. So it seems to me like this again is just a wrinkle that the staff has thrown in here with this particular 11 to help us progress the ball through the middle and create some more of those transition opportunities. That also allows guys like Owen, right, and Alex to be up there and help distribute. If they can get a ball from those fullbacks who are tucked inside, then they can spray out to the two speedy wingers or Seba checking back. Again, it's like you were saying all last week's, or really the last 2 weeks since we saw this lineup against LAFC. It makes you a little bit more dynamic, at least through this 2-game sample that we have.
I mean, when you have guys like Biru and Dessler on either side who are fine on the ball and also willing to take some shots, some chances, it just opens up a lot of different things that we can do. I mean, again, I'll reference back to that article where I was like, we had Hector Jimenez and Komanich starting in those positions before, and it's like the quality between these two guys and those two options when you're talking about actually having possession that can lead to something is just night and day. So getting Dessler loose, getting Biru loose, and letting him go, I love it. It looks good, man. It looks good.
I'm with you. But so on this play, right, I start talking about the alignment in the buildup, but we end up getting another long ball over the top, this time from Heinzike, in the direction of Osman, and Bukhari battles with Bauer again, kind of near the edge of the 18 as they approach this bouncing ball. And there's contact from both players here. and Bauer goes down, and that ball kind of trickles away from those two, and Seba comes in, scoops up that rebound, and rolls it home. I think he might have nutmegged Willis there on that finish. And then, man, this foul is very, very late. Like, it's almost like a late offside flag, but like, I don't think, to my knowledge, I don't think that's how like the fouls are supposed to be called. Like, you don't give, I don't know. When it's an offensive foul, it's not like you wait for it to play out, or at least I just haven't seen that a ton. So it was frustrating. But it's not the worst call in the world. There wasn't a ton to that, I think. But again, I wasn't really, even in the moment, even before we get a goal on the board a few minutes later, I wasn't too beat up about it. But I would have loved Seba to be able to, get on the board here.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. I don't think it's a foul. I mean, if anything, that Nashville defender is initiating a ton of that contact, using his body as much as he can to try to shield off Usman here. Usman's 5'7", $150, soaking wet. Like, what are we talking about here? This center back is 6 foot plus, a larger guy, and like he's just going to drop him like that. No, he's got his hand around his waist. But then even you see the Nashville defender, as he's falling down, is pulling Book's jersey down. And like, I don't understand. Like, it's just not a foul. In my opinion, that's not a foul.
Yeah. So goal called back. Then 5 minutes later here in the 43rd, this is really a poor turnover from Danny on that left side. Just kind of passes it straight out of bounds. Just a wayward pass again, which happens. Yeah. But then Austin gets kind of caught out here. Quick throw opportunity here on the dead ball for Nashville. And they take off here on a dangerous counter that ends with Shaq Moore putting a ball right into Stuver's chest. I think he could have done better to play it to one of his teammates, especially the large Sam Surridge wearing number 9, who was kind of lurking near that back post, which has, again, still been an issue for us this season. But we'll take it. And Stuver, settles it, rolls it to Heinzike. Heinzike gets it right onto Mikkel Dessler on the right sideline, and he plays Ring up that sideline, who turns, I think, does well to dispatch Anunga there and opens up a ton of space, then plays a fantastic ball through to John Gallagher, who's now in on the keeper down that left side, slots it past Willis, 1-0 Austin.
I mean, this is one of the plays I wanted to talk about with Alex in regard to the really good side of it, where I was impressed and pleasantly surprised with what he's been able to do on the ball. Quick little hezzy here, opens up the hips. What's the Anunga? Yeah, he beats here, and just shields him off, gets his head up, finds Johnny just flashing down that side. Shaq Moore, who took that shot, is out of position, and a good finish by Johnny. Not the prettiest strike I've ever seen by any stretch of the imagination, but got the job done. And it just felt, because right after that Seba goal gets taken back, it's just like, oh man, okay, we might be going to this half 0-0, still okay with that, but the tides have shifted, and to get this first one here, then you go into that halftime, love it.
Yep. And we did, before we get to the half, right, you get 11 minutes of stoppage, right? Because we had the stop for the VAR, the penalty at the beginning, and then we've got the Yazbek situation. So I understand the 11 minutes there. Coming out of the half, 51st minute, you do get a yellow card to Hani Mukhtar, pulling Danny's jersey on a break, just a little tactical jersey pull there. So rightfully given. 4 minutes later, 55th, Nashville wins a corner, and Mukhtar whips that ball into the 6-yard box. Matt Hedges clears it out, but only as far as Anunga on the edge of the 18, and he has a go off the half volley. And Stuver, again, I know that he saved a penalty in this match, but I think you could argue that this might have been his best save of the match, certainly one of his top saves of the season, kind of playing into your thought earlier that this could have been Stuver's best game of the year. Pause it out for another corner. And then, not done, Nashville takes that second corner very quickly, and Zimmerman almost slides it in off a slick pass from Hani Mukhtar. But man, Brad Stuver, I just can't say enough good things about this fucking guy, man.
Absolutely stunning save with the left, just to get it. And that shot had pace on it. So for him to just have one mitt on that, and to not have enough recoil where his wrist is like breaking backwards and it goes into the net. Like just absolutely incredible, stunning. You see a big push here from Nashville. This corner is very threatening, and a cheeky play here by Mukhtar, and that definitely could have been a goal for Zimmerman if he had put that on frame here, because we're just in a tight spot in this situation. So a big sigh of relief to get out of that situation, not having allowed the goal. And like you see the frustration start to build a little bit on Nashville here. And we'll take it, man.
61st minute, Austin able to have some significant possession in this passage of play. A couple minutes here, right? The momentum chart very heavily tilted towards Nashville here in the second half as Austin was defending that lead. So patience again, but finally the ball worked in to Dessler and Bukhari again on the right. And this is one of the things I was hinting at earlier. Again, this two-man game just looks so deadly. Dessler gives it to Osman and then makes a run. And again, pulling a defender with him, puts Bukhari one-on-one, glides in smoothly behind him, just leaves his defender in the dust. He's into the 18. Then he stutter steps on Anunga around him, fires a shot. And this is a good save there by Joe Willis. He parries that away. But again, like on this play specifically, Osman just making it look so easy.
It's wild. He was just gliding. It's just ridiculous to see how he's able to create so much space from basically a dead start with these guys. Yep. And I just haven't seen a defender in all of our years of watching MLS now at this point who is going to have that level of speed and just 0 to 60 acceleration with the ball in his feet that Book has. And a good save by them, because this was a good rip on the left for Bukhari. And we love, I can't overstate enough how much I'm loving this pairing. Like these two guys, like we are seeing it, and it's only going to get better. And it's so exciting.
65th minute, Stuver plucks a Nashville cross out of the air off a set piece. He sprints towards the top of the box. He's very clearly looking in the direction of Bukhari sprinting down the middle of the field. Can't get it to him. So he rolls it right to Alex Ring, and then Ring takes a peek up. Osman's checking back to the ball just over midfield, so Ring hits him. That springs a little 2-on-3 breaks. You don't have the advantage, or do you? Because it's Danny and Osman. He gets it out to Danny on the left. Then Bukhari makes a run across the face of his defender. Danny plays him in left side of the frame there. Tries to put it on net. It was a good slide here by Lovitz to get it out for a corner. And then Bukhari stays down, ultimately fine, but again, stays down, got to come out for 2 minutes. So off that corner, little turnover. Jonathan Perez, too, credit to him, pops it up over Danny, starts the break, gets it out to Mukhtar, who's got two teammates open in the middle. And luckily, Dessler checks his shoulder, hustles back at an angle to cut out this cross from Hannah. I also think Mukhtar can do better in this situation, but we will take it. So Dessler cuts it out, bounces it behind him, then recovers, beats the crashing offensive player to the ball to clear it out, and then swings his fist, lets his teammates know how frustrated he is, and also getting out some emotion for the big stop. But you love to see all of that from Dessler.
One of the best plays of the night. Absolutely incredible. Mukhtar could have been better, but Dessler couldn't have been better. He was perfect on this play. This is just an absolutely one-man show where he is able to just thwart this attack by himself, get that ball out of there, clear it to safety, and God, dude, he's really fucking good.
I saw some people saying that Dessler is maybe the most complete player on that pitch last night. And I think at least for the 90 minutes last night, it's hard to argue that he was anything. But in the 72nd minute, you get Bunbury and Sedic on for Schaffelberg and Anunga. Anunga had gone down cramping. In the next minute, then Bauer plays a long ball towards Bunbury, who loses his footing, but that ball bounces and comes to Surridge as Hedges misplays the clearance. So Surridge gets around Hedges. Stuver comes out very quickly, gets down low, makes himself big, and makes another huge save to preserve the lead. That was maybe, again, the biggest mistake we've seen out of Hedges in a while, and Stuver had his back.
Yep.
Again, it's just Stuver's just, it was fantastic. I don't have anything else to say, man. 7 saves, clean sheet on the road. I know this team Nashville has been anemic offensively, but Stuver was still called on so many times last night. He just came up big time and time again.
And correct me if I'm wrong here, but they've been without Surge for an extended period of time, right?
Yeah, I think he's been in
Because
and out.
he just adds a huge element to their offensive attack. I was anticipating him not playing because injury reports in this league are just not as up to date or accurate as they need to be. So I was not anticipating seeing him out there, but he's big. He knows how to use his body. He knows where to be. Like, he's a good, high quality striker, and that's why you see him leading this team in goals, even with Mukhtar out there. So
Yeah.
like we said, we knew this team was going to be hungry to try to get this win. They haven't won a game in 8 matches, extended to 9 now, and like they had to get this one at home versus us. The way we looked at Nashville is definitely the way that other teams look at us when they see
Sure.
us coming into their place, where it's like, okay, well, this is kind of a get right game. We can get back on track here. So I know that they wanted this one, and having Surge just created these opportunities, but can't get past that Bradley Scott Stuver, man. I don't know what to tell you, buddy.
Nope. No, you cannot. 75th here. Guilherme Biru runs down a ball in the Austin defensive third, makes a nice turn out of trouble in that corner to ditch Shaq Moore, and then finds John Gallagher up that left sideline. And Gally turns, sprints with the ball at his feet about 50 yards before laying it off to Owen Wolf. And Wolf cuts middle, finds Seba in that middle, who then plays it back out to Gallagher on the left. And I think John probably could have tried to one-time this shot and had a better angle, but takes the extra touch, ends up being saved by Willis, but it spills out. That rebound spills out to Owen Wolf, who puts in just a perfect cross right to the head of Driussi. And I don't know how many times we've seen him bury a header exactly like this, and he puts it just over the bar. And I got to say, I think that should have been a goal. I think Seba can absolutely do better there.
Yep. I think Johnny's got a one-time the first one. Just so that he can, have that goalie not on his, like more so on his toes and everything like that to try to be able to get a strike past him. The ball from Owen is absolutely perfect, like you said. And Seba picked, even if that ball was on net, he picked the worst place to put that because Willis was right where that ball went. And I don't know if because even with the first header that he has, as we've seen and been instructed, what you want to do is try to get those balls into the ground on the dirt and see what happens and see if the keeper can get low enough to get there. So I thought both of those headers might have just been like an inch or two high where he wasn't able to get high enough to knock it downwards. But yeah, I think 10 wants that one back.
I agree. We do get a double change here for Austin in the 82nd. You get Giassi Zardes and the Punisher, Johan Valencia, in for Owen Wolf and Danny Pereira. So you move Driussi back into that midfield. And then in the 84th, you get Iago for Muyal on the Nashville side. And Nashville, again, heavy possession here in the second half. I actually think both halves had the exact same possession. I think it was 59% for Nashville in both halves. But just probing the Austin shape, right, for space. And Osman up top, putting a little bit of pressure on. He has this moment of just pure acceleration to get to Sejic at the back and deflects a little pass attempt. And then he's off to the races, man. Joe Willis in this instance has no choice but to try to meet Osman 35 yards from net. And whether it's Sedic in pursuit or Willis coming out, we know who's going to win this race 99% of the time. And Osman takes a touch around Willis, 2 more touches towards the net, and then rolls it into the goal for the 2-0 lead and his first Austin FC goal. And hopefully the first of a fucking million, man, because I would challenge any Austin FC fan to watch his celebration and not smile, because I think the way he's throwing his arms up, kind of just being finally, there you go. And it comes off to me like he has been putting the pressure on himself. And even though after last night, he's played less than 3 full games, right, with this team. I believe, if my math is correct. And his teammates very joyful from him. Alex Reen comes over, picks him up. Heinz Eich's jumping on his back, gets a big old hug from Seba too. You love to see it, man. And 2-0 lead at this point. Now the celebration is on.
Yep, it could finally take that breath where it's like, okay, we're going to win this game here because both of us, we're trying to do the draft and everything, and you're doing 1,000 different things. I'm just drinking, but we're both like, God, we got to get this second one because this feels like a heartbreak just waiting to happen here. And again, like there's just not that many players in this league who can do what he does speed wise in regard to closing space, and it's something that these MLS players are not necessarily used to. And like we talked about when we first got this guy, like one of the top 10 fastest players in the World Cup. Like this is elite level speed. So happy for him to get on the board because I do agree. I do think that he was putting quite a bit of pressure on himself. He's a fantastic player. He's the largest signing in team and club history. So that expectation comes with it, and he holds himself to high expectations as well, as he should. So you get this one, the checking account is open, and let's just start depositing. Like you said, maybe 1 million goals.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I will correct you. 10th fastest player in the Champions League, not the World Cup. But, I don't know which one is more impressive, to be honest. So that was his last touch of the game. Hadar Obrian comes in for Osman in the 85th. And then again, the team sees it out. Only had, 6 minutes of stoppage, I think, in the second half. But 2-0 victory on the road, Austin's third road victory of the season. And far and away, there's no competition between the other two wins. This is the best road performance we have seen this season, hands down. You think the other two, you steal the goal in Houston from Rigoni.
Yep.
Maybe I was more excited after that win because of it's fuck Houston and Rigoni out of nowhere and CJ assist and it's late. But this one, just from I think just the pure what you want to see, whether you're staff, player, fan, whatever, this was the most complete road performance of the year. And it's just, again, it's building off, in my eyes, what's been just a very encouraging stretch of games. I think Coach Wolf would say something similar. He would extend that window of games that he considers positive, I think, a little bit longer than I would. But since these new guys debuted, right? And we haven't had, Dessler did not start against Charlotte. He came off the bench. Bucco only played like 60. Then he got tossed and all this. But Charlotte, you get a draw, right? Those guys don't play a full game. We get flashes. You get the Alex Ring penalty. We give up the goal there. Seba doesn't play. Julio doesn't play. Both suspended. Then you go through the group stage. And, we've rehashed that plenty. 2 huge wins. You go on the road to LAFC. You compete against LAFC. And again, a 2-0 loss is not what we want to see going forward. But you also look at what LAFC has done to their opponents in Leagues Cup, teams that I think the national pundits and fans would probably say are better than Austin. And we gave LAFC a better game than either of their last 2 opponents. They dubbed Colorado 4-0 or whatever it was the other day.
Should have been 6 or 7.
Yeah, and now 2-0 on the road again. It's not the best road performance we've ever seen in club history, but again, this year, absolutely. And it's just, like you said to start the pod, it is the best way possible, I think, that we could have started this 9-game stretch. And a big 3 points. Minnesota takes a home loss to Seattle. Dallas does win on the road at DC. So we are now into 9th place, so in the road spot in the wild card, a point above Dallas sitting there in 10th. So again, got the job done, 3 points.
Absolutely awesome victory, team victory all the way around, and I was really as much as we talked about the LAFC game, particularly me, because I think I put a bit more emphasis on how good we looked in that game. And despite the fact that we lost 2-0 to that buzzsaw of a team, I thought that there was a lot to take away from that game and it was really nice to not see this large drop off going into this game versus a much lesser opponent. You have a quality showing. And when you're not playing a team like LAFC, you can beat a team 2-0 at home with the way that you played last night. So just an absolutely huge victory for us. There's going to be so much movement with these other teams. I know we're going to be keeping an eye on who they're playing, their results going forward and everything like that. This was one of Dallas's also must-win kind of game because it's DC United, not very good Eastern Conference opponent. You got to get that done on the road if you're going to keep pace with the rest of this Western Conference and everything, given the gauntlet that everyone has to go through here to end this season. So this was a wonderful, wonderful way to start off these last 9 games. You check that first box, you get those 3 points. I think we have to get 9 out of this Nashville game, Vancouver, Toronto. Some say 7. I think that would be great, but I just don't think that. I don't think this is a 3-game stretch where it's like you can't look at this and be like, hey, we really can't get 9 points here. Like we can. Like these are 3
Yeah.
opponents that we can definitely do it against. So great way to start it off, boys. Book on the board. Can't wait to see him back at the queue. And let's keep this thing rolling, man. Like it's exciting right now. It's going to be a battle, but I'm here for it. I'm strapped in, and we got 8 games left.
Yeah, for sure. And we can talk more about that, I guess, on Wednesday, previewing the match at home against Vancouver. Yep. I think, again, you say some say 7 points would be great. I am some. But we can debate that further on Wednesday. 41% possession for Austin on the night. 18 shots to 15 in favor of Nashville. 7 on target to 6 in favor of Nashville. So you look at that, 35 total shots for Austin in their last 2 road matches between LAFC and here. That's got to be some sort of record here for 2024. 5 big chances created for Austin. Of course, missed 3 of them, but that 5 number, again, that might be the highest of the season as well. 10 corners to 2 in favor of Nashville. Austin did block 9 of the 18 Nashville shots. And 11 of Austin's 15 shots came from inside the box. On FOTMob's model, XG 2.15 for Austin, 1.9 for Nashville. But again, you take just the non-penalty expected goals, 2.15 for Austin, 1.11 for Nashville. But then you look at the expected goals on target, 1.87 for Austin, 1.9 for Nashville. And again, that includes, I think FOTMob's model gave Hanny 0.75 expected goals on target for the missed penalty. So again, maybe a little lucky, right? Got a little lucky, a little bit of skill combined there to keep the clean sheet. But the 2 goals certainly deserved in my eyes. And then the XG models would back that up. I do think disciplinary wise as well, we had 3 guys on caution coming into this match. It was Driussi, Gallagher, and Danny Pereira. I believe Driussi got the good behavior bonus last night because his last yellow card in the league came against LAFC at home, and he has since appeared against SKC, NYC, Seattle, Dallas, and then Nashville with no yellow cards. Again, did get the red, straight red, against Dallas, but we know from previous suspensions for some of our guys that red card does not count towards your yellow card accumulation. So I think he's back down to 3. In that count. I believe John Gallagher needs just 1 more game clean there with the discipline to get his good behavior deduction. Danny needs 4 more. So as you said a few weeks ago, he gonna get suspended.
That's part of the job for him.
Yeah.
It is the position he plays, the things that we ask him to do. It's definitely in the job description that he's going to have to take some fouls sometime, and he's going to have to be physical, and he's a smaller kind of guy. So I get that. Hopefully he can avoid it. I am not holding out hope for that.
A couple things from the post-game press conference, and I would encourage everybody to go watch it because I thought the Osman Bukhari part of the presser was again, it's hard for me as a fan to not have a smile on my face watching the goal, the celebration, how he reacted, and then his thoughts after the match. But of course, Coach Wolf, pretty upbeat coming off of the victory. And I will say too, upbeat enough, where we log on to the Austin FC subreddit this morning, and there is a fan, I believe their username was like Ostrich Boy 21 or 30, something like that. Credit to them for this video, because down behind Austin's bench area post-match last night, Josh Wolf over there greeting a group of Austin fans. I don't know if part of this group was maybe family members or friends from the area, right? But he comes over, getting congratulated by some fans. He goes, "You guys got a drink for me?" It looks like he takes like a little Lone River ranch water or something, takes a big old swig, taking pictures with some fans. It has been literally years since we saw him approach fans like this. And the only other time I can think was at Houston 2022 when we beat them there, and he stopped the team bus to go say hi to the supporters in the parking lot there. And again, man, like, I understand why he doesn't, because there is so much animosity from a segment of the fan base. But like, when you get a friendly group like that, I think everybody would love to see that more like just a human side of him, right? Where like he's enjoying the win and having fun with the fans there. So I was having fun watching that video.
Like you said, it's been a minute, and I definitely can't blame him for not going up to fans because, like, you're going to take some harassment more
Yeah.
often than not there. But, if you just can't be excited about, like, if you want the guy fired, okay, there is a laundry list of items that you can point to that makes sense. But to not be able to be happy for this dude in this moment during this stretch run, come on, man. That's just corny. Like, we just won a huge game. He's part of the team. We're in it together. We got this stretch run here to come through. And, like, if you don't want us to make the playoffs, I can see why you might be upset about that, but that's not what everyone else is on board with right now. So super happy for him, super happy for the team to get that drink. I love Lone River Ranch Water. Is probably my favorite ranch water. Might be my favorite drink. I don't know if that was a cold one. Looked like it might have been, in someone's hand for a little bit.
Right.
But,
It was after the final whistle.
Yeah, kudos to him for that. So a nice little cherry on top for a very much needed and well-deserved road victory.
Yeah. And Coach said in the post game, he said, there's a lot of positives. There's still plenty of things we need to work on, but getting 3 points on the road, getting a shutout, big kudos to the players. And hopefully this keeps moving us up the table and building off what's been a good last 6 or 7 games for us. And then Bukhari said after, again, it puts a smile on my face. It makes me excited for the stretch run in the years to come. He says, I feel like I'm home now because the environment and my teammates are friendly. It's nice to see this when you go to a club. They see you as you are. They don't care about who you are, how you play. They just want to support you. After I scored the goal, you see the way that my teammates come and hug me and say, you need it, you deserve it. I was really happy. In my head, I was like, okay, the guys need me and I need them because we have to be together. And if we're together, we will win all the games. And I'm down for that plan, E.
Hey, man, it seems pretty simple. I'll take it. Be together, win the game. Million goals. We haven't set the expectations too high. That's for sure. Undefeated, 1 million goals.
Yeah. And the last thing, I don't want to end on a negative, but one thing that still like bugs me after that game is we have seen the disciplinary issues, right? Whether it's yellow card accumulation suspensions, whether it's straight reds, giving up penalties, it continues. And it's too much. And we got to, again, it feels like the third or fourth game recap where we've said we got to shore up that side of right, the team. And if you keep giving up pens and getting guys sent off at the rate we are, we're not going to make the playoffs. So again, we escaped again, giving up that pen last night. And again, no more. Can we go 8 games without giving up a penalty?
This could have been a very different pod if Bradley Scott Stewart doesn't come up absolutely huge in that moment, because you're 100% right. And to try to gloss over it, that's not fair. So I also don't want to end on a negative note here. So I will say that it is something that is fixable. We just need to see it get fixed, because we cannot keep putting ourselves in this situation. And, if you shoot yourself in the foot through these last 8 games, then you got no one to blame but yourself.
Yep. Well, we can go ahead and close things out with last business day here, because taking on Rapids 2 at the pitch on Friday night, little impromptu thunderstorm out there, but the game did get started on time. Same 11 as last game, but then substitutes Arellano, both Garcias, Gomez, Pinot, Cervantes, De Anda, and Abarca. And on that lineup graphic, we did have Tony Gomez listed twice, so I don't know who else was on the bench that there was the mistake there, but 2 Antonio Gomez's on the bench. 22nd minute. 0-0 here. Nice little combination at the top of the box for Colorado that the ball ends up finding the feet of Marlon Vargas, right? The only guy whose name we've said in these 3 recaps for Colorado and previews this season. Not the guy we want to have the ball at that distance. Fires a shot from 18 yards. Freezes Marcus Alstrup in his tracks. Early lead for Colorado there.
Yeah, not the guy who wanted to have the ball. That's for sure. But man, let's keep it pushing because this is a great game to get some positivity going again.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we don't have literally the next possession, I believe, 24th minute, just moments later. Shaik Toure gets some space down the right side, and he sprays across towards the face of net, and it skips across that 6-yard box and waiting on that back post on the left side. CJ taps it home to level things immediately, and then 8 minutes after that, nearly an identical setup here, but it's Jimmy on the right instead of Toure. And Jimmy puts that cross in towards the back post. A little bit more air under this one. But again, CJ, who else could possibly be there to head it home? CJ with the early brace. We've got the 2-1 lead. And the roommate connection continues to grow.
I mean, we've been touting it for a while now, but it looks even better than I can describe at this point in time. CJ is on fire right now, like absolutely on fire. And your assessment, I don't know when you said it, but to like let him go and try to lead this team to the playoffs, like on his back, he's fucking doing it. Like he's doing it right now. And he just, again, it's got to be a good confidence builder. And we talked about the limitations that are now in place for him to get minutes with the first team. So, there's not much you can do in regard to controlling that. You can control your performance out here on the Austin FC2 level, and he is doing that. And for him to have the maturity to accept that and embrace that and not kind of have a negative mindset or pout or anything like that because he's not getting minutes that I think he would be getting with a team that could find themselves in the place that Austin is right now and the roster construction as it had been, could be very frustrating. So I think he's handled this incredibly. And like the dude is absolutely fucking on fire right now.
Yeah. And we got, no losses in the last 5, 3 draws, 2 wins, 2 consecutive wins here, and giving the game away a little bit. A couple notes to get here before we wrap it up. 53rd minute, Colorado wins the free kick right side of the Austin 18. They cross it right into the blender there in front of net, and there's a scrum. And the camera work here was not great all night, not a ton of zooms. So like when there's these plays in the box, just even worse angles than normal, but headed down and into the back of the net to equalize us at 2. And Austin players want offside called here, but again, there's no replay in Next Pro, so nothing doing. We're tied up. 20 minutes later, you get a double change. Diego Abarca and Sebastian Piñol in for Jimmy and Irvin Torres. So pushing Micah out there push Micah back into the midfield. You get Diego out there on that right wing. CJ still out there on the left. 10 minutes later, 82nd minute. Yeah, nice give and go here between Diego and Bobo. And Abarca ends up putting this shot off the opposite post. And it's one of multiple late chances here with about 10 minutes to go, created by Austin, but just not able to find the back of the net. 86th minute, Sal slides in near the end line, gets called for the penalty. And honestly, like not too dissimilar from what we see the next night in Brendan Heinzike, like almost identical fouls here. But Marlon Vargas steps to the spot, powers it past Alstrup. And I give Marcus credit. He guessed right here. Just a nice take there by Vargas. He gets a brace. Colorado leads 3-2. And my immediate thought is there goes the season, man. This was a must win. And if you drop that one, just like the probability of making playoffs is already slim. And it's next to nothing if you drop this one.
Yep, absolutely. It was all hope had gone out the window, really. Great strike by Vargas. We've talked about the kid plenty. He's a really good player. Alstrup on it, but just a really a good offensive play. It's a good strike by Vargas there. So I'm right there with you. I had lost all hope at this point in time because we've seen this team kind of drop games like this throughout the season where it's like we give up a lead or it ends up going to PKs and we're losing these PKs and only getting 1 point out of these games that, we were in control of. So very disappointing, but you played to the whistle, to the final whistle, my friend.
You played to the final whistle. And at 88th, we get a sub. You get Brian Ariano in for Micah Burton. And then in the 90th minute, Austin wins a free kick, 30, maybe 35 yards out, kind of left center of net. Whip that one in. I think it was Alonso towards that back post on the right, where CJ heads it back across the face of net, and Sebastian Piñol, gets up to clean this one up and put it into the back of the net. Pretty cool still image floating out there from the team on Instagram of him elevating to put this one away. But you tie it you're going to get the opportunity to go to Pens and get 2 points. And again, that's where like it's not what you needed, but 2 points would certainly keep that pulse alive. You get 3 minutes of stoppage, and literally on the last play of the game, Austin putting pressure on the keeper here, and he clears it out. But there's backspin on this ball, and it's going out towards the near sideline from the broadcast camera. Diego Abarca hustles over to that sideline, fends off a defender, and turns with the ball, keeps it inbounds, drives towards the penalty box, and puts it across towards Sebastian Pignot, who puts it home for the win. And for the first time that I can remember, beer showers at Palmer Field. You can see it on the broadcast. You can see it on the replay, going crazy. And rightfully so, man. That comeback was intense. I texted you right away. I was like, yo, are you, all caps, are you seeing this? Like, blah, blah, blah.
Yes, sir.
Felt great for those guys. Felt great for Pignot to come in, clean those up, get the win. Huge 3 points. And Austin FC 2 now 28 points here. Still have a game in hand on the 3 teams above them. And they're within 6 points of that 7th and final playoff spot. And again, Loons 2 coming to town Wednesday. So short week, but we're at home against the team that's at the bottom of the Western Conference standings. It's another must-win coming. And again, if you win that game, then you are thoroughly in the conversation for that 7th spot.
Absolutely. Just like with the big boys, you got to take care of business one game at a time. They did Nashville. We did this Colorado Rapids, or, they again did the Colorado Rapids 2 team here, which has been such a fun little rivalry that has budded here in the last 2 seasons, and to see the beer showers, absolutely by far and away, no question, the best fans at the next pro level. It's not even close. Like, to see that, like, the atmosphere there was absolutely fantastic, and just happy for those dudes, man. And like you said, you get another very winnable game here. You get 3 points and you're thrust right back into that conversation. So job's not finished. And I just want to say shout out to Barca, because I did say, you got to play to that final whistle. And that is the definition of it right there.
Yep.
Not leaving any time to waste, and just like going out there, throwing it out there, throwing out your best punch. And it worked out. It paid dividends. Sebastian Pignot looking like Benteke out there, bro.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the aerial king. So Wednesday, right? Short week, 8 p.m. at the pitch. Loons 2, last place in the West. They've got 19 points from their 20 matches played. They've conceded 52 goals, negative 25 goal differential. No other team in the conference has worse than negative 11. That's Colorado. So again, the must-win lever is stuck in the down position. It has been pulled. It won't come up for at least another week. And to be honest, man, like, you look at this Minnesota team, they, as you would assume, with the how poor their position is in the table, not a ton to take away here personnel-wise. Patrick Weah does lead them in goals there with 8, but they don't have a ton of offensive scoring prowess that has played a ton of minutes for them this season. So not a ton in terms of like player personnel preview here. I think, again, this is just, you got to go roll it out there, execute the game plan. I think we're settling into this kind of this comfortable 11, Coach Utley, that is. So I expect to see the same 11 out there, same type of effort, and you got to beat this Loons 2 team. And I think we do get it done. I'm going to say it's a 2-0 victory.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, like you said, this is definitely a must-win game. A very, very beatable team. They are very, very poor defensively. I was just looking, what was it, 13, 15 goals given up their last 4 games? No, that's not right. 14. A lot of goals given up their last 4 games, okay? I don't know why I'm blanking on that math there, but we're healthy right now. And we've had some of these later additions come in and start to make some of it of an impact. And now we have a full rotation of very threatening players. So this final push for this team is going to be exciting and fun. And like you said, the lever is stuck. And this is a team that I expect to beat. And I hope that we can go out there and just give them a good whooping, put it in the rear view. Don't leave it to the last play of the game. Give me 3-0.
I love it. We will take the victory. However, we can get it. Need these 3 points. Jump back into that playoff race. we will be watching on Wednesday. And that'll wrap up episode 169 of the North End podcast. We will be back on Wednesday, depending on when we record. Maybe recapping the Loons 2 match there for FCito. If not, we'll take care of that on Sunday. We will be previewing Austin FC's return to Q2 Stadium, taking on the Vancouver Whitecaps. Very important. Again, as they all will be from here on out. Very important match in the Western Conference playoff race. Anything else for you before we get out of here on episode 169?
Nothing for me, man. Just in a great place right now. Super excited for the stretch run for both of these teams, Austin FC and Austin FC 2. Let's get it done, baby.
Enjoy the beginning of your week, everybody. We will do the same, and we'll see you back here on Wednesday for another edition of the North End podcast. Until then, he's E, and I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Victory song.
Welcome to the North End where the passion's running high. We're here to talk football, Austin FC, all pride. ZG and E will take you on this ride. Week by week, side by side. It's Action 1, 2, 3, we're the rowdiest in town. The Pirates game and Uncle Dave and Big Fudge all around. We sing our songs, we chant as one. Through thick and thin, the match day's just begun. In the North End, we stand together. Through every game, through any weather. From the first whistle to the final blow, the North End will never let go. Under the lights of Q2, our home, our sacred ground. In green and black, we fight, our voices loud and proud. Trio sees magic, Bakari speed, Stuva saving grace. With every goal we score, the lights turn their day, it's our place. So knows the mastermind, building our dream, and moves everything around.